Hello and welcome to Tarot with Tanya. This is 7 cards for 7 days. We are looking at the week of Monday, February 17th to Sunday, February 23rd in 2025. Thank you very much for being here. Welcome if you're brand new, and welcome back if you've been here before. With any reading for the collective, just take what resonates for you, leave the rest behind. Keep developing your own intuition. I'll talk a little about the astrology for the week, and then I'm using the Wildwood deck. We're moving out of Aquarius and into Pisces now. And then we'll finish with an oracle card from the Tree Keeper's Oracle. So we begin our week with the moon in Libra on Monday morning, the 17th. But by the afternoon, at least here in the States and particularly in the Midwest, it will be moving to Scorpio. And remember, if you're looking for personal items for yourself, getting them when the moon is in your sign it can give you a much better chance of being satisfied with what you get. So pay attention to where that moon is. So we'll end the week with the moon in Capricorn. So the Libra is a masculine, though I think it's the gentlest in some ways of the masculine air signs. About balance and harmony, diplomacy. I think I talked about that last week. The Scorpio is more intense in terms of deep inner scrutiny, mysteries, sex, death, taxes, all that good stuff. Very psychic. And then we go through the Sagittarius, the higher mind, law, higher education, travel, adventure, things like that, philosophy. And then when we end the week, we'll have that moon in Capricorn, as I mentioned, which likes structure and organization, likes getting things ordered, is good with business, can be very nurturing in a masculine aspect. All right. So Tuesday on the 18th, we do have the sun entering Pisces. And I don't know exactly what time that day, so you can check that for wherever you are. But we're moving out of that Aquarius energy, the humanitarian, the out there. Pisces is out there in a different way. It dissolves everything together. We move into that collective unconscious. It's very good energy for being creative, for dreaming, for the artists in general, the poets and mystics. Things that tend to dissolve and blur the boundaries for us, which isn't always great for everything. So just be mindful of what you're focusing on during this time. It's good for winter dreaming, or another part of the world. Maybe it more aligns with a different kind of dreaming. By Thursday, on the 20th, we have Mercury squaring Jupiter. That's a little bit of a challenge. Anytime you have the squares, right, you get that energy that's kind of difficult and intense. So it's not a good day for blindly trusting anything. Mercury, information, short trips, the mind, how we take information in and so forth. And Jupiter tends to expand whatever it touches, the giant gas planet. So, the best way to handle that is to try to remain flexible and moderate. Squares, want to kind of put us in a corner. So that's where the flexibility can be good. And then, moderate is in contrast to Jupiter trying to really, really expand everything. So just keep that in mind. Mercury moves quickly, so that won't last long. And then by Sunday, the 23rd, we have Mercury now trining Mars. And also on that day, you have Mars going direct at about 17 degrees of Cancer. So trines, again, are the opposite of the squares. They're easy, harmonious kinds of energies. Things flow together well. So you'll have information that helps you take action. Mars wants to protect. It wants to be strong, be assertive, get things done. So, again, Mercury with the communication, the mind, so there could be this idea of getting things done. But Mars rather, being in Cancer. Cancer rules the home, nurturing, food, protecting family, things like that. So Mars could be pissed off in this particular place. It could feel threatened in those areas, and there are some energies on the planet, like right now, let's face it, that are threatening people's homes, threatening their income sources, threatening their food, threatening their well-being. So I feel, the good energy, the good thing about this moving forward is that it will take that energy in a more, no, we're going to stand up against this crap, and protect our children, protect our homes, protect our well-being. So anyway, that's the astrology. In terms of the cards, let's see, we have 3 majors this week. We have a couple of 3s. Otherwise, I think that's, actually we have 3 3s, so 3 is definitely the dominant numerical energy here. So flow, harmony, the divine feminine, you have it in the 2 and the 3, the high priestess and the empress are, in this case, it's called the green woman. But they're different in that one is very internal, the high priestess, and the 3s are a little more external, to do with abundance, to do with relationships, in small groups. So anyway, we'll talk more about that as the cards go along. On our Monday, the 17th, we have the 2 of vessels, or 2 of cups. You're probably more familiar with it being called. And sometimes this card is referred to as love. Obviously, you have a pair here. It's almost like, they're drawing the energy up with their hands, or, either the water's pouring from the hand or it's being drawn up by them. I don't know, it feels more that way to me. But they're creating something there that is loving and kind and harmonious. Now, in a non-romantic aspect, it can be agreements. It can be contracts, things like that. So again, this week, you want to watch that on Tuesday. No, excuse me, that's on Thursday in particular. But even on Tuesday with the sun entering Pisces, I'd be mindful about that kind of stuff. Give everything a second look. When we get to our Tuesday, we get the first of our 3 majors, and this one is the shaman, often called the magician. Stirring things up, taking the elements, throwing them up, seeing where they land, making something new, creating magic. Now, on the darker side, it can be deception. We'll have the moon in Scorpio at this point. So the thing about Moon in Scorpio is there tends to be suspicion there. It's kind of hard to fool in some ways people with Moon in Scorpio, because they're looking for that inside information. They're looking for the deception, for potentially, or what's hidden. So in that sense, it's good. So what is the magic, and is it genuine? What's your own magic, or if it's more of an outer thing? Is someone's magic towards you real, or is it something more deceptive, meant to fool? Our second major comes up then on Wednesday, and this is the stag. It's the number 8, so often it will be called strength in other decks. And I just love this giant shield with the tree on it, which is, I'm going to flip to the back of this card, so that's on the back of every card in this deck. So of course the tree, the Celtic tree, where the roots are a definite reflection of the branches, so there's that equality of above and below. And here it's a within and without. How are we strong in ourselves when we are genuine about who we really are? not about what we think others want us to be or what the qualities are that we think we would like to project, hide what we're embarrassed or ashamed about or think is less than desirable in some way, and then, you know, not be our authentic self. The true strength, I think, comes in this card from really owning who we are and being our full authentic selves. And that eight, you know, that infinity, when we turn it sideways, is that kind of, I think, looping that keeps us strong and centered. Now we get a little bit of trouble on our Thursday with that first of the threes that I mentioned. And here we've had, in terms of the minors so far, only the vessels, the water. Here we get into the arrows are the air. Air is the mental realm. So it's often, you know, what we're thinking and what energies are we feeding? Are we going to feed, as this one says, jealousy? Are we going to feed fears? Somehow that we might be abandoned. That's another, you know, traditional meaning with this card. It can refer to the mother-child, father triangle. And, you know, there's always going to be some wounding there. We're human. Nobody's perfect. There will always be something, even just if we're learning to differentiate ourselves from our parents. So just kind of watch for that energy of separation, and it may be directed towards you. It may be something that you feel, and just watch for abandonment and know that the only way we can ever truly be abandoned, once we're adults anyway, is by our own selves. Here comes the antidote. So by Friday, the energy has shifted, and now we're back to that cup, that water, that psychic, that intuitive kind of energy. We have our beautiful cranes doing a sort of dance here. Only one has a foot on the ground. The other two are, you know, both lifted off completely. Each has a unique vessel. And there's just a happiness here, and, you know, it's called joy, and that does fit with pretty much every deck I've seen in terms of the good feelings of this card. It's often three women getting together, so friendship, celebration, you know, getting into your cups in a very nice, loving, kind way. So hopefully Friday, that's the dominant energy, and forgetting, again, that mental abandonment energy that came on Thursday. We do go back to the mental energy on our Saturday, but this is a different expression of it. This one is called instruction. So you have a kind of, you know, the 10 here, and the grandfather, it looks, perhaps a father, but with a younger male, maybe, I mean, it doesn't have to be a male, could be, doesn't have to be, and anyway, a child, being instructed on how to shoot this arrow, which symbolically might be, how do you go for what you want? This card often has an association of, all right, this is the end of this particular line. I am going to finish this so that I can start something new. And it could be the sense that my life, the elder person here, is closer to ending, so I'm going to pass this skill to someone much younger who can pass it along later as well. So what are we aiming for? What are we letting go? What do we want to start anew? And then finally, our last card for this particular week, and this would be the Sunday the 23rd, is that final major and final three, and this one is the mirror, typically the hanged man or the hanged one. So, you know, obviously this is a very different depiction because you don't have the upside down, the inversion. What you have is this sort of creature, a kind of mermaid, the heron, with some sort of a pouch. You have an Arthur, like King Arthur type figure floating out on the water. It reminds me of the Lady of the Lake. And eyes closed, holding the moon, reflecting on the water as well in the mirror. So this is a very feminine depiction of this card. What are the inner mysteries? And again, to me, it does connect with the Empress. That would be the more outer expression, as was with the Three of Arrows and the Three of Vessels, of the air and the water. And here, a kind of mystery and a letting go. What happens when we just let it go? We set something adrift, we close our eyes, we let the instinctual bird part do the fishing, and we don't control anything. We just hold and reflect in that space. And does it change perspective, which I think is the main meaning of this card. What perspective would benefit from being changed? How can we see with inner sight and not outward? All right, so then our last little bit here, a Tree Keeper's Oracle, and today we got the Keeper of Play, number 16. Beautiful images, beautiful colors. Just like a tree's limbs can support a swing of joy, your arms can hold a great deal of play. Too often our own limbs are weighted down by responsibility, demand, guilt, or shame. It's time to construct a swing of joy in your heart. Remember your inner 3-year-old who stood on her head? Always a connection. I mean, again, she's not reversed, but that's typically how you would see this. All right, so the 3-year-old who stood on her head or hung from the monkey bars just from the joy of the tactile experience. This wasn't mere folly. The tree keepers knew that play opens pathways to problem solving and creative genius. It's also essential for the outer adults. Fill your arms with the lightness of play and possibilities will take flight. Doors will appear where there were only walls. So, beloveds, I think that's a beautiful message to end on. Thank you again so much for being here. Please like, share, subscribe, and reach out if you could use a reading or have any questions about that, where you get, the attention completely focused on you for your personal questions, or, maybe your larger questions. There will be information in the description box and at the end of the video, and I will see you, beloveds, again in 7 days. Thank you and wish you well.